Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Toledo. Well, no mic. I need a mic. Are we back? No. Yeah, there we go. Maybe. Come on. Come on. Hello. Well, we're all screwed then, so. How's that? What a way to go out, right? Yep. Want to try that? Is it working? How's that? I don't know. All right, I'll just keep talking and you guys figure it out. I don't know. Happy Monday, everybody. I already rang the bell. Stay with me, Carol. Come on. One more, man. One more. We got to hold this thing together. All right. Welcome, everybody. At this time, I'd like to ask Carol Sobchak to come to the podium to deliver a reflection and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, you go around that way. Oh.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Please join me for today's reflection by reflecting on a few things I thought of this morning. Today, let us reflect on the mystery that is life. From the tiniest subatomic particle to a drop of water, to the vastness of an ocean, to the unknown immensity of our universe. Everything is connected to everything else. Carl Sagan said it so well. He didn't say that. We are all made of star stuff. Or as one of my favorite bands, Ambrosia, said, we all are partners in this cosmic dance. So let us remember to treat everyone, every living thing, every creation of the universe with kindness and respect and love. Namaste, Shalom, Amen. Please join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. And Travis, would you please point me to the correct flag? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Carol. As we begin our meeting today, I'd like to thank and acknowledge Rudolph Libby Group as this month's sponsor, Rotarian Matt Arnold. So Matt, thank you very much. Does anyone have any guests with them? If so, please go to the floor mic and introduce them. Alex.
Hello, good afternoon, President Travis and Rotarians. I bring with me one of the newest members of the Rotary Club of Toledo, Easton Gladney.
Welcome, Easton. Good to see you.
Thank you.
I have my son with me today, Ben Sears from Columbus. He's the recently hired Vice President of Expansion for the Star House out of Columbus, and he's up here looking to open a location for Star House. It's a youth homeless shelter type thing, so.
Welcome, Ben. Ben, you have no idea how much your father talks about you, so it's great to finally put a face to the name. So welcome, buddy.
Hi, President Travis. I have my intern back with me for the summer, Marcus Peretti, coming to us from Miami of Ohio.
Good to see you again, Marcus. And Alex, don't sit down because you're next up, kiddo. So at this time, I would like to ask Alex Thomas Holland to the floor, or actually to the podium, for a quick update.
Hello, Rotarians. For those of you that don't know, I'm Alexandria Thomas Holland. It's my first time up on the mic, so I'm glad we're in a smaller room. It's less nerve-wracking. I am the incoming chair of the program committee for next year, along with Sam Meldon. And we have some things that we wanted to just talk to you about for the next month. So one of the goals coming into the new year is that service above self is something that we focus on often. We'd really like to see that happen every quarter. And so we're going to kick off the first of the year of our new fiscal year with a service project. At the end of July, so that would be July 29th, we would like each committee to plan a service project that our Rotarians can get out into the community and do. This service project we're asking to be back to school themed because August is going to be a back to school month for our programming that we're going to bring to you each Monday. So for the 29th of July, the program committee would like to see a service day happen, and each committee plans some sort of service opportunity. Environmental Services is kicking it off, and they were kind enough to switch their Litter League day to that day. So there will be a Litter League opportunity on the 29th of July. And for the other committees, when you guys get together, we just ask that you come up with some sort of plan for a service project for that day. But please don't be alarmed. You'll get more information from Jackie and I this week because I know it's a little bit of a short turnaround time. I'm well aware. Kevin and I discussed, and he told me to get up here and do it. So we're hoping to have a service project for you all every quarter so that we can get out into the community and give back to our community because service above self is what we do. So thank you all.
Thank you, Alex. Next up, I would like to ask Karen Strammel to come to the podium and introduce new member Kevin Milliken. Is Kevin? Oh, there. Yeah. There's a hell of a way down. Oh, yeah, exactly.
No wireless? Good.
Start winging it, kid.
Hold, please. Hold, please. No, I'm gonna do it again. What happened? All right, I'm good. Sorry. It is my pleasure to, oh, that's really loud. It's my pleasure to introduce a new member, Kevin Milliken. Kevin and I first met when I was working for iHeartMedia in digital sales, and we partnered with Lucas County Children's Services to do many events, but one of those was their annual drive for children during the holidays. So we would have a big event at the mall, and that's the first time I met him, and he was picking up lots of packages that we were bringing in, and so he's a very hard worker. So as you know, he works with Lucas County Children's Services. He is their public information officer, and something that maybe half the room will like is that he's an Ohio State University grad. And he said they just signed an Alabama guy. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so there you go. His interests are, He loves to kayak, hike, bike, and he loves country music. And one thing I will tell you is I'm not only friends with him, but we're Facebook friends. So I see that he goes to lots of country concerts throughout the summer. He's very avidly kayaking, which is one of my personal favorites. And something else on Facebook that's really fun is that I feel like it's every work day, maybe it's every day, but he puts out there like a joke of the day, and they're very much dad jokes. So if you appreciate that kind of humor that Kevin has, you should go friend him on Facebook because they're really pretty funny. Sometimes they're like the eye-rolling kind of funny, but sometimes they're really funny. Sorry, I'm going to roast you a little bit. I guess the last thing, I mean, he's from Ohio. He was born in Canton, so he is an Ohio native. And I guess one thing I wanted to say also about him is that his pet peeve is people who don't follow through on their promises. And being Rotarians, that is kind of one of our things within the four-way test. I feel like that we all do follow through on our promises, or at least try to in the most meaningful ways possible. So thank you guys for welcoming him into the club, and let's all give a round of applause for Kevin.
And I'll just leave you with this thought. Spring semester, I flunked a marine biology class that I was taking. My grade was below sea level.
Have you met Chuck Mann yet? Thank you, Karen. Welcome, Kevin. Glad to have you as a part of it. Last week, we celebrated our member awards at the Shoemaker offices. I want to throw a shout out to thank you to Scott Hinshaw for arranging our use of that location. I want to acknowledge a few people. We celebrated quite a few folks, but I want to mention three. First and foremost, Karen Stramel, stand up for me. She is your committee member of the year, so congratulations, Karen. Also, and I didn't see him earlier, but your new member of the year this year is Aaron Shutterly, so congratulations to Aaron. And finally, most importantly, and very much deserved, your member of the year is Donna Bogan. So congratulations to Donna. Lastly, I'd like to invite you all one more time. I'm going to bring this up. On Wednesday, June 26th, please join me and several others for the installation of our very own Tim Ryan as district governor. The event will be held at the Art Museum's Glass Pavilion. There's a QR code there if you'd like to scan and snap that to get your RSVP. But again, please help us welcome Tim into this role. And I'm being attacked to the right. Yes. And you can pay at the door as well. Thank you, Carol. The wheels are off, man. So that's all I've got. This is my last full meeting. I'll have some words on the 8th when we wrap up, but just really quickly, I do want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you to all of you. This has been an amazing year. It has been a fun, optimistic year, and I can't thank all of you enough, so thank you. So let's get at her. Mr. Gary Corrigan, will you please come to the podium to introduce today's speaker, Roger Smith.
Well, it is my pleasure to introduce Roger Smith. I just met him for the first time, but found out we had a number of people in common, and the background in manufacturing I think you're going to find very fascinating. He told me that he's never been able to speak before the groups because everything was secret, and that's because he was in charge of technology innovation. He spent 35 years in that field, and he was director of innovation at Owens, Illinois. And he now is the head of the Regional Innovation Office of Northwest Ohio's Innovation Center, or Northwest Ohio Innovation Consortium. One of the key things about Roger is that he believes in getting people to work together and share ideas and bring about a better product or service. So maybe tonight or today we'll have some secrets let out that he wasn't able to share, and you all go home with some innovative experiences. I'd like to introduce Roger Smith.
Thank you. All right. So as my introduction said, I spent 35 years with OI, mostly as an innovator, both product and process. My last gig was really to create the team and develop the modular advanced glass manufacturing asset, which is moving a glass plant into a warehouse. So my job was really to make technology, build technology, and keep it secret. They didn't let me out. So I'm not used to speaking in front of big groups, but we've got some exciting stuff going on in the Northwest Ohio Innovation Consortium, and I want to talk about that today. All right, so what is, can you advance for me? Thank you. What is the Northwest Ohio Innovation Consortium? It's really born out of local industry. It's a 501c3 corporation, and it's got a vision to make Northwest Ohio the national leader in innovation in manufacturing, right? We're going to start with glass and solar manufacturing because we are the glass city and we are the largest producer of solar panels in the United States. But we will eventually branch out to include all manufacturing industries. It's a collaboration between local industry with 5 major anchors. Education, that includes both universities in the area, the University of Toledo and Bowling Green State University. It includes community colleges. We get strong advice from the Toledo Public School System and intend to include them as we build out our talent development programs. We include most of the economic development organizations in town, the Chamber of Commerce, Connect Toledo, RGP, and it's about bringing all those folks together to make manufacturing better and catalyze technology development and commercialization. So we'll get to why Northwest Ohio is important, but Northwest Ohio has a inferiority complex. They don't know what they're good at, and they don't speak strongly enough in the state and federal governments. So the Northwest Ohio Innovation Consortium is about that one voice that can speak routinely to federal officials to say, hey, look at us, because we got a lot of good stuff going on. Yeah, that's enough on what we are. All right. Why Northwest Ohio? You know, why is it important for us? Well, we're a powerhouse of manufacturing. We have more manufacturing per capita than anybody else in the state. Here's a tidbit. We have more robots per capita in Northwest Ohio than anyone else in the world, right? Probably didn't know that. We manufacture all kinds of things. We manufacture glass, we manufacture solar panels, those are obvious. But we manufacture food, furniture, steel, EV, drivetrains, automotive. We practically build everything here. So we've got a lot of unique advantages too. We've got 2 world-class universities who produce all of the STEM graduates we need to be successful. We do export some of those, mostly to Columbus, but we produce everything we need here. That makes us essentially self-contained. We don't need to import much. We have all the talent here, and we make all the products here, all right? So the goal of the Northwest Ohio Innovation Consortium is to combine all that expertise and knowledge. And in advanced manufacturing, we're going to start with solar and glass making. primarily because solar's got a very symbiotic relationship with glass, right? Glass is half the weight of it's actually 90% of the weight of the solar panel. It's 50% of the cost. It's about 40% of the carbon footprint. So what we can make better in glass, we can make better in solar. We also intend to be involved in artificial intelligence, automation, things that will scale rapidly in the rest of the industries, whether it's food, furniture, steel. And we also intend to include labor and economic development in that as well. So in Northwest Ohio, we have an abundance of power. We have an abundance of locations. So let's put it to use. Next slide, please. All right, here's some of our members and the folks who help us out, right? So all 4 glass companies. And one of the benefits, and lawyers, close your ears for a minute. One of the benefits of the glass industry in Northwest Ohio is it substantially does not compete. It uses the same technology, the same basic materials, but different markets. They actually don't overlap at all. So the glass industry can easily work on solving the most difficult problems together because of that. But we also involve, for solar, Dana supports us. Toledo Public Schools has been instrumental. Workforce development like Owens Community College, Cherry Street Mission, LISC Toledo. We have the Glass Manufacturer Industry Council helps us out. The Chamber of Commerce, Connect Toledo, RGP, the City of Toledo, Lucas County, Wood County, and I'm sure I've missed folks, BGSU, University of Toledo, but that's the group that's helping us put this together. Next slide, please. All right, here's what we're trying to do. So we're anchored in the private sector, right? So our first goals are to create stronger, lighter, more cost-effective glass. Advanced manufacturing techniques, including AI, and that's an overused buzzword. We're focused on process AI, so things that make making stuff better. We're also focused on the decarbonization of glass and the solar value chain, as that's a very key, important point that's also very expensive to work on in the glass industry. On the education side, the universities and community colleges support us with process control, sensors, advanced manufacturing technology, AI, and coatings advancement. I'm a graduate of both universities, University of Toledo and BGSU, but I got a tour of BGSU's laboratories a couple months ago. I spent most of the morning with the president, and I was like, why doesn't anybody know about these laboratories? They're world-class. They've been doing research for folks like Johnson & Johnson for 25 years. You know, why don't we have more knowledge of these laboratories? So we have 2 world-class research laboratories in various areas, the University of Toledo in solar and chemistry and physics, and BGSU in physics and coatings that will help us out. All right, so one of the things my constituents remind me of often is that essentially the only thing we compete for is workforce, right? Every company, big or small, in the area competes for talented people. So we're going to spend a lot of time as one of the main pillars in how to create the talented workforce that we need with the right skills, right? We call that Nexus NWO, and it's really the biggest pillar that we are going to work on. It will start with high school camps to keep kids interested in STEM. It will move on to internships for STEM professionals, and it will include a feeder system for advanced degrees like PhDs in physics and chemistry, right? I mentioned before that we produce substantially all the STEM graduates we need. But what we lack is about 6 to 8 PhDs in physics and chemistry that we have to import every year, every single year. So the intention is to recreate the glass science program and take advantage of the physics programs at both universities and create those PhD candidates locally. All right. And then economic development kind of includes small business, entrepreneurial. So glass companies typically don't do a lot of this technology on their own. So how do we make that available for small business startups? All right, next slide, please. Yeah, we talked about most of this stuff, I think. We're the undisputed leader in CadTel Solar. We're the glass capital. We produce all the STEM graduates. All the good reasons to not have an inferiority complex and claim our share of federal and state money and do great things with it. All right, next slide. Where are we at? Let's see. This was conceived by local economic development leaders in late 2022. I got a call the day before my anniversary in March of 2023 and said, we know you're going to retire at the end of the year. Can you help us out? And I unknowingly said, sure, I'll help you out. And that's when I got involved just about a year ago, a little over a year ago. We incorporated in June with the state of Ohio as a 501c3. We filed for a federal EDA Innovation Hub designation in August of 2023. We did not get that designation. Akron got Ohio's only designation for the polymer cluster. And then we refocused on the State Department of Development Innovation Hub grant in September and entered that grant in February. Now, we've been answering a lot of questions. We've had a number of interviews with the state. And all I can tell you is stay tuned. The announcement is imminent. So that's where we're at. The situation's getting serious. I'm going to have to stop traveling. Anyway, next slide, please. Right, here's what we told the state. We wanted to create a center of excellence for glass in Northwest Ohio. That's going to be a shared space. It happens to be on the OI campus, and there's a reason for that. But it'll house UT and BGSU professors along with any of the private sector or economic development folks who are working on the projects, and we'll cover the projects in a little bit. The reason we're on the OI campus is OI happens to have a world-class glass laboratory and an innovation center. That innovation center operates Monday through Friday for 8 hours, and then we keep it warm, the other 16 hours every day and on the weekends. So there's plenty of capacity in the innovation center, and there's 2 furnaces in the innovation center. They're permitted for research only, so there's never any commercial product coming off of them. And so we've got the lab and we've got the innovation center. That made it a good reason to put the researchers right beside them and in a neutral site where we could work together. So that's where we're going to be. Our goal is to expand world-class research, especially in areas that make sense to work together on. So alternate fuels, decarbonization, things like that. The state funding really allows us to accelerate, but there's a significant commitment by all of the private sector folks and to get this research started. All right, next slide, please. So featuring the Glass Center of Excellence, the hub's really going to work on a number of things. First and foremost, the main pillar is talent development. That's high school through PhD, right? That's one of the most important things we have to accomplish. From a technology standpoint, we're going to worry about glass melting, so alternative fuels, methods of decarbonizing the furnaces. We're going to work on improved fuel efficiency and longevity. I don't know if any of you have ever been in a glass plant, but I was fortunate to take a tour of the NSG float glass plant in Lucky last Friday, and, you know, I almost melted. And I'm used to glass plants. The economic development folks I had with me, I thought I was going to have to resuscitate. That's all waste heat, right? So how do you contain it, keep it in the furnace, and keep it making glass rather than, you know, exhausting to the atmosphere? AI process control. This is one that will cross many industries. But how do you accelerate modular AI process control? I think about working on the Magma project. And 5 years ago, we looked at AI. Probably 4 years ago, we tried to hire some folks. And I probably interviewed 100 people that looked like they were 16, and the interview occurred in their mom's basement or the bedroom in their mom's house, right? They all wanted $300,000 a year to work 10 hours a week, and they were going to work for 4 other companies, right? So we didn't hire any of those folks. But fast forward 2 more years, and suddenly AI is modular, right? All the big tech companies are producing modules that allow average engineers to be effective at process control in the AI space. This is going to continue to change at a very, very rapid pace. And so our university folks are going to have to keep track of that, right? They're going to have to help us out. But this is an area that will be one of the most impactful across all industries. Glass surface treatments, we're going to take advantage of Bowling Green's expertise in coatings and surface treatments to make glass stronger and more effective. Recycling optimization, so recycled content in the glass industry is critically important, and getting good recycled content is very important, so we've got a big focus on that. And then the talent development system that I had discussed earlier, that is, in my opinion, the key pillar to what we're going to do. All right, and as I said before, keep your eyes out for an announcement because it's imminent. Anyway, I spent all morning getting ready for that. But that's all unofficial. Anyway, all right, I think that's my last slide. Let's go one more. As I said before, I don't know most of you. I spent most of my time in labs and plants. I developed technology and I kept it secret. So if you think I need to know who you are, please get a hold of me, right? We need all kinds of help in a variety of areas. So be glad to meet you. And I look forward to working with this group and all the other groups in the 17-county Northwest Ohio area to implement a strong future for innovation. Thank you. Questions? Yeah, happy to take questions.
Is that you've mentioned a lot of asks for PhDs and professional support and coalition building. Is there any general ask of the general public you can think of? Publicity? Is there a fundraising component to this?
Oh, good point.
Those
Thanks.
types of things?
Yeah, good point. And,
You can get back
good
to me
question.
on that if you like.
Yeah. The state grant requires a match component, and the area has stepped up strong to commit to that. The area has committed $10.45 million, and that includes all the private sector that you saw up there, plus some other companies. The universities have stepped up. So right this second, we have substantially all the match we need, but as we expand this program into the future, community involvement will be critically important. From a communications and publicity standpoint, I turn that over to the experts because I don't know a stinking thing about publicity or communication. So right now, I lean on my OI friends but have a strong communication team that includes OC, Libby, NSG Pilkington, and Dana. Right. Did I answer your question effectively?
My question is that I keep on reading that solar panels manufacturing, China is far ahead of the whole world,
Yeah.
and they dominate the market.
Yep.
And of course, it's supported by the state. My question to you is, you are an insider. As compared to China, where do we stand in terms of competition? They are 100, or where do we stand as a competitor for them in the future?
Yeah, good question. So China set out, and I'm not a solar expert, but China set out to capture the crystalline silicon market. That's important as a distinction, because the crystalline silicon market is very labor intensive. So they have an advantage in labor costs, right? So just to briefly describe this, to make a crystalline silicon solar panel, you grow a big thick chip, and then you cut it into slices, and then you manually place it on a glass backing, and you manually wire it together. So it requires a lot of manual labor. The solar cells produced in the Northwest Ohio region are cadmium telluride solar, which allows for automation, right? It's plasma vapor deposition, IC manufacturing, and to simplify that, it's fully automated process. Right? It was developed at the University of Toledo from the work that Harold McMaster did 30 years ago, and it's much more suited for automated production. That's why the U.S. is strong in CAD-TEL solar. But to give you an example, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the U.S. manufactured about 30% of the solar panels in the world. Today, you would put a decimal point and at least 4 zeros before you started with numbers on the percent of solar panels manufactured in the United States on the world. So it's a serious problem that we have to help solve.
And my second follow-up question is, Pilkington has been in Toledo for a long time. They replaced Libby Owens Ford. And I was a physician. I saw hundreds of patients from LOF. Are they innovating or improving? How have they done in our area of the country?
So I'm not sure I quite understood your
About
question.
Pilkington, the glass company.
Yeah. Okay.
What is
yeah.
their main contribution over the past 20 years or something?
Yeah, no, actually, Pilkington has a couple of innovation centers, obviously Japan under the NSG banner, but they also do a lot of work in the UK on alternate materials. There's also an organization I'm gonna tell you a little bit about called Glass Futures, which is building, I think it's about 150 million pound test facility in the UK. Now, one of the things we're definitely clear on is that we will not spend a dime of the state's money or a dime of the company's money or a dime of your money on duplicating anything, right? So Glass Futures and Pilkington both have hydrogen component furnaces in the UK. We have a partnership with Glass Futures where if we do any hydrogen testing, we'll do it there on their facility so that we do not have to duplicate anything. The goal is to develop technology and commercialize it from wherever it's from and do that rapidly and cost effectively.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
I have 2 brief questions. Locally, what are our local cities and counties doing to support this kind of program and technology? And then second, what do we need to do as sort of stakeholders in these areas to add pressure or support to our local politicians and government? Thank you.
Yeah, good question. I think our local folks, and they've been very, very supportive, including, the mayor of Toledo and Wood County Economic Development, Brandon Selhorst from the city of Toledo. Lucas County's been very supportive. I don't know that there's anything I can tell you to do right this second, but as we get into it, if I run into any trouble, I'll let you know.
You mentioned that one of your challenges is the workforce.
Yep.
And getting a workforce in there to kind of fill these seats and learn. Can you tell me, I saw that you had Cherry Street Mission listed, and TPS is listed, and there's other entities that you'd be working with. Can you tell me what kind of work you plan to do or are doing to kind of meet some of the barriers that the workforce might be presenting? You know, there's a large population of people that can work, but they present with certain barriers like transportation,
Yep.
lack of housing. Will you be doing any of those things so that you can grow the workforce and also improve things in our community?
Yes, obviously we have to do that.
Right.
We have to do that. We had a very, very robust program laid out in the federal application that included basic education, basic transportation. We did not cross over into housing. That I kind of feel like that's a bigger problem than we can get solved. But the other problem I think we have is interest, right? Recruiting. And you know, if you look at the statistics, we have great trades in the area, but they're retiring at, depending on which trade you look at, they're retiring at a rate of 5 to 7 for every one person that walks in the door that says, I want to be a pipe fitter or an electrician. Or so recruiting those individuals is key number one, and providing the kind of transportation to the training is very key. But we also have the same problem in STEM. I told you we graduate substantially all the STEM people, and by that I mean engineers and physicists and chemists, and but enrollments are down. There's far fewer people interested in say taking the engineering curriculum than used to be interested in that. And so it'll be part of Nexus NWO is engaging with high school students, inviting them to paid programs in the summertime where they will work on projects with industry, so that we can get them interested, so that they want to become tradespeople and engineers and all the folks that we're all competing for.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Terrific presentation. Thanks for coming. My dad worked for LOF for his entire career, and when I was looking for a summer job when I was 19 or 20, he got me a job out in the Waterville plant, and worst job I ever had. I worked Monday and Tuesday, had to come home after my shift and lay in a hot tub to get the glass out of my pores. Very rudimentary safety equipment, if you can even call it that. Rubber bands around our long sleeve shirts to keep the glass from coming up into our body. I called in sick on Wednesday, and when I got a job with Jack Brigham and Maumee putting in swimming pools. Harder job, but at least I didn't have the issues at the end of the day. I worked Thursday and Friday back at the plant and quit. So, and then of course the LOF got taken over by Johns Manville. My dad got transferred out to Denver, and I was just curious, what's the status of our glass fibers industry here in Toledo now, and who's in charge of it, if you will?
Oh, I don't have that kind of expertise, but I'll tell you, OC still manufactures a lot of glass fibers, and so does John Manville. But I want to make a point. You bring up a good point. There's a really dim view of what manufacturing is, right? And that's historical and deserved, right? But I'll give you, from my perspective, today's glass plants, where it used to be kind of hellfire and brimstone, is run from an air-conditioned control room with, every operator looking at 6 to 8 screens, right? I was just out at Pilkington's Lucky plant. They had 22 screens in a big semicircle with 3 operators paying attention to them, plus 6 operating screens in an air-conditioned control room. These guys were clean as a whistle. It's not to say they didn't have to go out and do things, but primarily today, if you go to work at the First Solar plant, you go to work in an air-conditioned clean room. It's probably cleaner than the house or apartment you drove in from. Manufacturing is different today than it used to be, even in my career. Right? But, you know, in my career, I remember the installation of the fax machine. So, you know, it's really, and one of the things we have to get to is in our schools, is we have to convince our guidance counselors that manufacturing is different today. We live and die by safety regulations, and most plants are fully automated. And let me give you one quick example. Where we put the very first half-scale Magma line was in Streeter, Illinois. Streeter, Illinois used to have 4,000 people show up. 4,000 every day. The whole city worked at the plant. After we got the half-scale Magma line installed, there were less than 400 people showed up every day, and they made more bottles and more tons than that 4,000 made. Right? And it's about automation and controlling the process. So our operators today don't really need to learn how to sweat. They need to learn statistics, chemistry. They need to be able to write a good report for the next shift. They need to be able to translate complex, very complex procedures into quick action. So it's kind of a whole different ballgame. And I guess that's all I have to say about that.
I just have some folks that you haven't mentioned among your partners that can maybe challenge you, since it's a 17-county region.
Yeah.
Vanguard, Penta,
Oh, yeah.
4-county,
Yep.
and Northwest State and Terra. All of those groups have been very, very
Yeah.
nimble. I used to work for Herzing Toledo when it was in town, and some of my best students that came in were ones that were after associate's degrees because they knew they needed something extra beyond the career technology aspect of what they were doing.
Yeah.
And this generation, you've got a heck of an opportunity right now, because most of them realize, hey, I don't need a 4-year degree. I don't need $100,000 in student loan debt.
Right.
I can go out there right now with my brain and the kinesthetic learner that I am, and they can show me what to do here, and then we'll get rolling from there. So I
Yep.
would challenge you among that 17-county region to maybe reach out to some of those. There's some.
We do, and we have. Northwest State and Terra State are deeply involved. They're just, they're not members yet. They work through the Owens Consortium of community colleges, and we do speak with Penta and 4-county. We have not approached Apollo yet, but we will. We'll get there.
Okay, because I was impressed. I went to Terra one time
Yeah.
on a recruiting visit, and I had more high school students taking College Credit Plus from Oak Harbor that day
Yeah.
than I had seen actual college students.
Well, and Northwest is particularly good at trades training. They have only 900 traditional students. They have close to 5,000 trades training students that come from places like the steel mills in Delta and solder woodworking. So yeah, we're definitely in tune with them. They're part of what we're doing.
Thank you.
I believe I recently read an article that said that 13 states have now prohibit single-use plastic containers. Is there any move in the glass industry to come up with a new generation of glass containers that might fulfill that need?
Well, I don't think we need a new generation of glass containers, but I think our work in this area will make them lighter and stronger, and therefore more advantaged in competing with plastics. I think the big problem for the glass bottle industry right now is more the aluminum industry. Yeah.
Just a quick follow-up to the need to get younger people more involved in the STEM and that type of thing. Have you thought about even going a little younger to like a middle school level? And just because that's when they start to think about what do I want to be? I have a middle schooler, so this is why I bring this up. But, you know, partnering with like Imagination Station on something or something along those lines to start to get them thinking more so earlier than trying to catch them maybe when they've already made some other decisions.
Yeah, no, good point. And let me tell you a 2-minute story. You know, as I was putting this together, and I kind of had my hands full and didn't know what I didn't know. I think 4 people told me I had to talk to Dr. Durant from TPS, and I see he's in the room today. And I finally did. I finally called him up, and I probably had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder when I called him up and basically said, you know, what can you do for me? And then he started talking, and it took him less than 10 minutes to make me a disciple. Wait, less than 10 minutes. And now, if Dr. Durant calls me up, doesn't matter where he wants to go or what he wants me to do, I will be there and I will do it, right? Because I'm that much of a believer in his system. And I'm sorry to be speaking for you, but he engages folks at the 6th grade in his magnet schools, and they join in the 7th grade. We would like to get there, but we are going to start where we have the capability to start, which is probably after sophomore year, and then we'll move on from there. TPS's representative that works with us is Tom Dimitri. Tom's an excellent resource, and he helps us out. Any other questions? Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you so much. That was absolutely fascinating. As a token of our appreciation, I'd like to present you with Historical Tales of Toledo, which was authored by our past president, Clint Mock. And we'll also be making a donation in your name to the Polio Plus campaign to rid the world of that horrific disease finally. So thank you for being here. Truly appreciate it. Okay. Quick heads up, next week there will be no meeting in honor of July 4th. The following week, July 8th, is a national holiday. It's the end of the reign of Travis Tangeman. You all can have your room back. We'll be having the changing of the guard and the swearing in of President Kevin Mullen. So please join us on the 8th. If you're available this weekend, we'd like to invite you out on Saturday morning for a Litter League pickup that's starting at 9:30 in the morning. You can use the QR code there to find all the dates for the rest of the summer as well. So please join us for the Litter League pickup. I failed to mention it earlier, but the membership awards last week were an absolute hoot, and that is 100% because of Allison Hammonds and Max Reddish. I don't know what those two are on, but I swear, caffeine can't be enough. They are just a riot. It was so much fun, and they already are in the planning stages for next year. So hold on to your hats, because if it gets any bigger than that, I don't even know. So thank you to them. Also, I failed to mention tonight at 5:30. Alex, where are you? Alex Huffaker, right there, is being sworn in as president of our very own Rotaract Club at the Glass City Metro Park. So if you have the ability to make it out, please join our Rotaract Club out at the Glass City Metro Park at 5:30, and wish him a very good year, and go get him, kiddo. So, with that said, we've got just two meetings this afternoon. We have the program committee meeting in Jefferson A. We have the foundation trustees in Jefferson B. Well, that's wrong, because this says B, and I'm going with what Jackie scribbled. So Jefferson B. And since this is the last time I'm going to close a meeting, I'm going to say it one last time. Go out, create hope, make an impact in your club, your community, and your world. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks, everybody.